So for example, let's say that you're a black male student. We hear this a lot in the research that we do. You're in the library, you're studying, and they come by and no one has asked for their ID, but they walk up to you and ask you for your ID, assuming that you may not be there because you're a student, maybe you're there to steal something, right?
From the library?
From the library. This happens a lot.
I'm not going to steal from the library. Everybody knows that.
Well, hopefully they'll steal a book if they're going to steal something.
Right.
But
hey everybody, Roger here. I want to talk to you guys today about a couple of instances that happened like within the last couple of weeks that are pretty sad, and also kind of really puts to shame any credibility a situation like this would actually have. So we'll start with the first one. So there's a woman named Donna Hilton-Williams. And Donna Hilton-Williams was in Virginia. I guess she was going to see her daughter's tennis match or something, a championship, whatever. I'll start with what she says happened first. After this supposedly horrendous experience, she goes on Facebook Live for about 8 or 10 minutes and, watching this video where she's saying that she was assaulted by a police officer. This officer was demeaning her, saying that he was going to rip her out of the vehicle if she didn't sign her ticket.
The man threatens to pull me out of the car. We shouldn't be afraid to drive and get pulled over by the police.
In that video, she also says she's a law-abiding citizen and will not do anything to break the law, which is false because she didn't want to sign the ticket. The ticket wasn't an admission of guilt, just a promise to do one thing or another.
I showed him my license, asked him why I was stopped, and he said that I was going 70 and a 65 or 60 and some kind of small difference.
So she would have preferred to break the law if given the opportunity. The officer gave her a second chance and said, "Hey, no, you don't sign this. I'm letting you know I would have to take you in."
Need you to sign right here?
I'm not going to sign that ticket.
Ma'am.
I don't agree.
Okay.
But I don't have to sign it.
So, ma'am.
But I appreciate it.
Hold on. Me. All right. So, what you're signing here is a promise to either come to court or a promise to prepay. It's not an admission of guilt. It's only a promise to me that you're going to get it taken care of by either coming to court or prepaying it. If you refuse to sign the summons at this point, I'm going to have to get you outside of the police car, outside of this car. I'm going to place you under arrest and take you in front of the magistrate. I will get your vehicle towed and go from there. So, yes, ma'am, you do not have a choice. You have.
On the phone.
I don't care about that. You do not have a. I don't care who's on the phone. I'm talking to you right now. You do not have a choice but to sign the summons. So once again, you're signing right there. So thank you. I knew you were going to sign it. Thank you very much. All right. Appreciate it very much. And you have a very safe day. Okay. Thank you.
So she goes on Facebook Live. She's crying. She can win an Oscar for it. She's crying about it. She's saying, this is horrible in this day and age. White people, you don't know what it's like, and all my black friends and my minority friends, we go through this all the time, and cry, and making a big stink out of it. Gotta love body cam footage. So, after the local authorities heard about this scenario, they decided to do their own work and look, because I believe the sheriff was pretty upset when he heard that on the news. I think that's what happened. He said he was very upset. So anyways, he goes back and he looks at the footage, the body cam footage, and then he's like, none of what she said ever happened. If there was anything, I'd probably, criticize him on a few tiny little points. I believe there was a remark where he said, I knew you'd sign it, thank you, and have a safe day or something like that. And again, take things as you will. Here's the thing that he benefited you on, lady. Two things. The first one is this. He definitely could have taken you in for not signing it. He gave you what the alternatives were if you had not signed it.
That is racist. And this happens every single day. And I am so tired of it.
He gave you that information. He told you flat out in easy to understand words. There was no, and the other thing to take away is that there was no sign of any sort of threat. This officer did his own work, and he did everything by the book for the most part, from what it looks like. And you were sitting in the seat. You know, you're being cordial as well. I don't see that you were being hostile. I did see that you didn't want to sign it, and that's when he had to tell you your rights. You know, if you don't sign it.
That's racist! That is racist.
And then you decided to sign it. He knew you were going to sign it because he knew you didn't want to go to jail. Or he didn't want to take you in and impound your vehicle. So, now if you guys want to relive that moment, you can buy the CD for $9.99. I'll put the link at the end of the video. And I think if you guys have already seen the officer's body cam footage, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyways, great songs. So, that's the first item. The second item is something that happened in South Carolina, in Timmonsville, South Carolina. This guy by the name of Jerrod Moultrie. Jerrod Moultrie is, I think he's my age, maybe 40. I could be wrong, age doesn't matter here. Jerrod Moultrie is not a voted-in local chapter president, but he is I think a pushed-in NAACP chapter president in that region.
I don't know what to do about it anymore. I used to think I used to know what to do about these things when I was NAACP and I was in college and I was young.
Okay, a couple of things on this case. This one really kind of, I'm not sure which one of these two irks me more, but I think this one does, for two reasons. Actually, yeah, this guy's irks me. Oh, God, they're both so bad.
That's racist!
But I'll give you the issue on this one. The woman, laid claim that's, you know, saying that racism still exists.
But I just was bullied by a racist cop.
You know, she's not being disingenuous, right? Now in this case, this guy does that and then some. So Officer Chris Mines decides to go and, you know, pull him over because he didn't use his turn signal. So he pulls him over and, says, hey, you know, this is the reason why we're engaging right now. You didn't use your turn signal. Can I see your license, registration, yada, yada, yada. The other thing he did when he turned, I guess, is he was noticing that his tags, his plates were not the same as the vehicle. So his license plate was for an older, like 1993 GMC truck. And he actually was driving a newer model, late model BMW or Mercedes, I can't remember which.
All right, Mr. Moultrie, here you go, okay? Your registration. Try not to drive the car no more until you get the proper documentation, because this registration actually come back to a 1992, okay, GMC truck. Yes, even in the system as that too. But what I'm saying, you got to have the proper registration and everything, and insurance and all that stuff to actually indicate that that plate comes back to this motor vehicle, okay? Because when I run the plate, it's still coming back to this. It's not coming back to your car.
Okay, I understand that, but look, I just bought the car the other day. I switched the tags.
Well, you probably need to go to the DMV and ask them how come it's not registered in the state of South Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles. It's still coming back to that truck.
I understand that, but this is what I'm telling you. I switched the tags from the truck to the car. They told me at DMV, the dealer put that on there to show that the tag's gonna be transferred.
Right.
And all I need to do is keep this registration in there and this bill of sale.
They told you wrong. You got to have the proper documentation in your motor vehicle that actually matches the car that you're operating on South Carolina highways in order for it to actually be legal to operate on South Carolina highways. They told you wrong, okay?
All right.
All right. Other than that, there's your driver's license. Just make sure you wear your seatbelt at all times while operating the motor vehicle on South Carolina highways and drive safe, okay?
But obviously, two completely different things, two completely different vehicles, and a scenario like that would probably take you to prison. It's not a laughable offense. So, anyways, this guy, you know, he gets pulled over. You know, he relays his whole story on Facebook as well. That Facebook post has since been deleted, but thank God for screen captures. So the screen captures showed that this guy was saying that, you know, he was exchanging words with the officer, and just so you know, Jerrod Moultrie is not that great at spelling, grammar, punctuation, or anything. Just an FYI. and he's your president. So he says, you know, oh, we were exchanging, and the officer was wondering if this was my vehicle, and then he said, oh no, whose vehicle really is it? You know, who owns it? And then he apparently put other derogatory items in this Facebook post that I'll be posting on this video as well, as you've probably seen it right now. And just some outlandish things, you know, making it seem like this officer's racist. He thinks that black people can't make money, can't have good cars, etc., etc., etc. So he's making up this elaborate story. Now, what kind of person? And it was a long. Now, granted, two things here. And this is all again assumption on my part, but this is like maybe I would say if he wrote it, if he typed it correctly, it would probably be like a 4-paragraph post. You know, he separated everything though. You know, it's in verbal exchange fashion. But it may have taken him time to compose this narrative. Who has an authoritative position, one that's supposed to be trustworthy, and his people, as his friends actually say, his friends and his family and the people that follow him in the NAACP. Oh, we're not going to watch the body cam footage. We know he doesn't lie. You see where your issues come from? Nobody's gonna believe you when everybody else knows the truth. And you guys are in thinking. That's so fucking stupid. Anyways, beyond that part, he writes this post, and it's about, at least, I'm gonna say four paragraphs wide or long. And he's an NAACP local chapter president, decides that it's worth his time to lie this much. 4 paragraphs long, to lie 4 paragraphs long about a scenario that didn't happen. You know, yeah, everything inside that Facebook post was very derogatory if it were to have happened, but none of that did. He didn't think the guy lived in the area, or so. That's what, you know, Mr. Moultrie posted in his Facebook. So the local officer saw that and said, hey, this is not good for our precinct here, you know, what's going on. So they looked at the body cam footage as well, and guess what? Completely different story.
The reason why I'm coming in contact with you is whenever you took the left right here, you didn't signal. Okay, that's the only reason why I'm coming in contact with you, okay? Sit tight for me, okay?
None of the racist things that he said happened. None of the exchange that he said happened. The biggest thing that happened that he did say, oh, he said that he would be impounding his car or whatever. Officer never said that. The officer gave him a chance. You know, he's like, just want you to know, these plates, they're coming back different from the vehicle that you have. I'm letting you go. And the guy even got a warning. The other woman in my story here got a ticket, but this guy got a warning. And he was able to let him go. There's no racism there. So he gets word that this body cam footage is out. So Mr. Man gets word of that. He gets word that everything is going to be public, and everything is public, and everybody's already seen this. But you know what? Him and this girl him and this woman from Virginia have in common? Ignorance. Willful ignorance. When the truth is staring them in the face, they let their ego get to them. They both said, oh, we're still going to be complaining about the way that we were treated. Even when they were found out. Even when they were found out. It adds no credibility to anything You guys are being selfish assholes. You guys are being selfish assholes. How does this make people look who actually are victims of racism? It makes you all look like fucking liars. It makes, there's no gain from it. No gain at all. There's no gain at all. And you're saying you're plighted. You're saying you're this. You're saying you're that. All you're doing is you're proving us right. Us people who know otherwise that the majority of officers out there are actually good, hardworking people, but they have a very hard job. And for you to go out and push the narrative. Do you know how many officers' lives, do you know how many people who actually looked at the story firsthand, looked at your Facebook's video, lady and man who wrote the, Moultrie, who wrote the post? Do you know how many of your minority people, I could be included in that list because I am a minority, but I actually am a thinker as well. Do you know how many of those people who will actually not go look at the corrected information, to look at the actual evidence? It's quite a bit. It's going to be quite a bit. And those people, those same people are that's going to fuel their anger. Your lie is going to fuel their anger. And guess what that anger turns into? Aggravated assault towards cops, sometimes murder, sometimes... do you know that this escalates? And you want to choose to keep that lie. So you'd be willing to put officers' lives at risk to just get your ego satisfied, to get that lie narrative consistently marketed. You're shameful. Both of you people are shameful. It's very disgusting that in this day and age, when even when you're proven wrong, people don't want to acknowledge that they've made a mistake, or not even make a mistake, that they outright lied. In this case, they outright lied. You know, it does you no good. It does you no good. I think the next time a person is really having a racist officer, which I think is very, very, very rare in this day and age, but if another person comes out and says an officer was racist towards this person, nobody's going to believe it, whether there's body cam footage or not. You guys already had 2 in the last couple of weeks here. I'm pretty sure there's more as well. You guys did this during when Trump won. You know, look, I'm gay. I'm a fag, and I remember hearing all these stories about all these supposed KKK and white supremacists coming out and assaulting or verbally or physically assaulting gay people as they were jogging. No, that's you guys being outraged that somebody won. Then you try to make up a lie justifying your reasoning and making people feel sorry for you and getting them involved. You built this hype. You built this hype on the Trump narrative. You built it to where you're the victim and you're not. You fabricate these stories. A multitude of them have already been proven wrong. And you're doing it here today with racism. I don't fucking get it. What are you guys' thoughts? Do you sympathize with these people? Do you think that they were, when you looked at both the video posts and her giving an Oscar award winning cry, or when you look at the Stephen King novel this guy wrote, I should probably say Stephen Hawking because he typed like shit. God, that was horrible. When you look at both of these people's renditions, they're not even interpretations. They're outright lies. These are not interpretations. They willfully knew that they were lying to fabricate a story. They didn't think they were going to get caught. They caught the public's love and sincerity, and people then hated cops more at that point. You know, she was trying to be... Oh, and then she brings up Sandra Bland. Fuck you for bringing up Sandra Bland. You have absolutely zero relationship in scenario or plight as or circumstance as Sandra Bland. Miss Thing, get off your high horse. You're 50 years old already, and you're lying like this. God, you piss me off. So, anyways, you guys bring about these narratives. It's disingenuous. You brought about narratives about the Trump campaign, and after he got elected, it got worse. You brought up this narrative that's so fake that you know that he's racist and this and that. You guys keep building these narratives, and you're living in your falsehoods, and it doesn't do anybody any favors. It doesn't do you any favors. You're living a lie. You're living a disingenuous lie. Whether you're claiming racism or whether you're claiming that somebody is something they're not. Yeah, screw you guys. What do you guys think? Am I onto something here? Does it really... Do their small actions for self-attention glorification, supposed racism, does it escalate the fight against officers? Does it cause more casualties? Is it another story that is being added to the books that only fuels the fire to kill more officers? I think it does, and I think it's dangerous. I think there should be something that should criminalize these people when they do something like this, and go from there. All right, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Have a great day, and remember, stay for the soundtrack. Bye-bye.
Want to relive the ultimate dash cam experience over and over and over again? We know you do.
The cop pulled me over. He can pull me out of the car if he wants, whether I'm doing something or not. Whenever he wants, he can impound the car, and I can be Sandra Bland. And I can be Sandra Bland. And I can be Sandra Bland.
Want to relive that moment it brought you to tears?
I don't even like crying, honestly.
Yeah, you know you want to do that too. Wait no longer. Now you too can relive the lies.
But I just was bullied by a racist cop. And he said that I was going 70 and a 65, or 60 and a some kind of small difference. And he said, well, if you don't put the signature on this ticket, I'll pull you out of the car, and then I'll arrest you and I'll impound the car. I abide by the law, I'm respectful of the law. And he said, well, I don't care if, you're gonna get out of this car, I'll just pull you out of the car. Like he had accomplished something by degrading me as an African American, as a citizen.
The deceit.
The man threatens to pull me out of the car.
The Oscar-worthy twist and the adventure.
We shouldn't be afraid to drive.
With songs that will bring you back to the moment where it all started. Like Merle Haggard, I think I'll just stay here and drink.
Think I'll just stay here and drink.
Recall the moment of ultimate justice as the brave officer cites another speedster who claims to not break the law.
I don't care who's on the phone, I'm talking to you right now. You do not have a choice but to sign the summons. So once again, you're signing right there. So thank you. I knew you were going to sign it. Thank you very much. All right, appreciate it very much. And you have a very safe day. Okay, thank you.
The ultimate sense of a job well done, playing Fishing in the Dark by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band.
Candle.
Then, as the end credits are about to roll and the teary-eyed adventure, well, for one.
And I just want to show you what area I'm in. This is the area in the middle of this kind of stuff. This is where I am. So it's not like I'm not afraid, because this is where we got lynched. This is where we got lynched. This is where even in today's day, we Freddie Gray, we can be in Baltimore. You don't have to be in a rural area. But I was literally afraid.
Is brought to an end. Our hero officer plays the Steel Driver's East Kentucky home, signifying the beginning of a new adventure of truth, justice, and the American way. Get your soundtrack today to relive all the magic. Only $9.95 for shipping and handling. Make checks and money orders payable to the Reverend Jerrod Moultrie. Don't worry, you can trust him not to lie about that. He drives a Mercedes.
This is commentary.